Hey, welcome to our Fitness Over 40 webinar. I am super excited to do this presentation for you guys tonight because this is something that is near and dear to my heart. So for those of you that may not know me, my name is Becky Crime, and I have been in the fitness industry for 20 years now, or just over. I'm currently inside of my Pilates studio near Cochrane, Alberta. I have worn all the hats. So I started out 20 years ago as a personal trainer. I taught group fitness. I've taught yoga. I've taught yoga for fertility. I've sort of done it all. Pilates is my passion at the moment. And the melt method is also something I'm super excited to be diving into. But we're here tonight to talk about fitness over 40. So I would love to know if you're over 40, over 50, over 30, whatever it might be, what is your biggest struggle with fitness? And for a lot of us, I don't mean, though this exercise is hard, but as we get into this stage of life, it's hard to find the time to do exercise. Or maybe it takes us longer to recover, or what we used to do doesn't give us the same results. So I want to talk tonight about some of the key reasons you're maybe not seeing the same progress and how you can actually train smarter, right? Not harder. We want to use the time we have to be super efficient with the time we do have. So that's what we're going to dive into tonight. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions, concerns, sort of any questions like that you've been just thinking about, what's happening with my hormones, how do I, and whatever it might be, drop those in the comments. And we are going to jump right into it. So I already kind of introduced myself, but one thing I didn't talk about was, again, my passion. You guys know it's Pilates, but I'm really, truly passionate about helping women feel their best. I did not say look your best, right? There's such a stigma in the fitness industry, or people do fitness to look a certain way. That's the image that we have in society. But it's about so much more. And I want you to feel your best. When you feel your best, you smile more, right? You show up as your best self. And how do we do that? Because there's so much information out there, and a lot of people can get overwhelmed really quickly. But really, if we break it down into something I use called the pillars of wellness, we can find and live our best life. Okay. So, what are these pillars of wellness? Well, it's how we eat. We have to eat well. So, we have to fuel our body with good nutrition. We have to sleep well. This is the most overlooked piece, right? Especially at this chapter of life. I often hear people saying, oh, I'm just not sleeping very much. You need to sleep. Like, it needs to be a priority. We need to think well. What I mean there is our mindset. What we think is how we see the world. And so it's important that we're putting positivity and good messages into our brain every single day. And we have to connect well. Community, being out with others, having friendships, right? Working with people of similar interests, feeling like you belong. That's a key part of wellness. And then, of course, move well. And that doesn't necessarily mean exercise. Not everyone has to have a big structured fitness program to be healthy, but you need to move well. And that's what we're going to focus on a little bit more, and specifically into, fitness over 40. So, how do we actually do that? And what is fitness? So again, there's often a stigma. We think fitness and you think of people at the gym, people running, maybe doing marathons. You think of athleticism, but fitness is not just that. Fitness, as a definition, is the ability of your body systems to work together efficiently to allow you to be healthy and perform activities of daily living. Okay, kind of a boring definition, but really, it is just that. It's your body's ability for your digestive system to work well, for your cardiovascular system to work well, for your brain to work well, for all of the systems of your body to function optimally, to allow you to live the life that you want. And we're all going to have different fitness requirements based on the chapter of life we're in, based on what we do, right? So someone that has a very physical job is going to probably as a result be stronger, but they're going to also need to train differently than someone that just requires, finger strength to type, that sort of thing, right? But what also happens is that whether you have a sedentary job or you have a very active job, each of those people will have their own unique muscle imbalances. So, whatever we do in our life, we have repetitive movements that we do over and over again. So, as much as I teach Pilates and I go to the gym and I'm active, I also sit at a desk a lot, right? I'm right handed. That gives me a repetition with my right arm. And so, we develop injuries and concerns throughout life as well that we need to address. And if you look at the little graphic at the bottom, what's great about fitness, again, I want you to really think outside the box. What does fitness mean to you if you think of that word? But then look at the picture. It could be anything, right? We can ride bikes. We can go swimming. We could play racquetball, badminton. Gardening can be an activity, right? Have you ever done a few hours of raking? That requires a level of physical fitness. Are we walking? Are we doing gymnastics? There are just so many things that we can do to be active. So let's talk about this fitness over 40, because you might find that, if you are active and there's something that you've historically done, maybe you've really liked to run, and maybe you're just finding I'm still doing those things, but I'm more tired. My body needs more time to recover. I'm losing muscle mass. I'm not seeing the same gains. Well, there's a reason for that. And this is a very unique chapter of life. One that I've struggled with a little bit. I lost a lot of muscle mass over the past 3 years, and I'm rebuilding that. Part of that was just inactivity, but also starting to understand my changing body. So as women, we are in that perimenopause phase somewhere after 40, some of us a little bit sooner. That was me. And that really does make a change through the body. So we have this hormonal transition happening, right? Which again, just the change in estrogen and progesterone levels actually changes the way your body is able to absorb protein, absorb amino acids, the way it's able to build muscle, right? But that aside, it's also a very unique chapter, and that it might be one of the most stressful. We are full on right now, right? So a lot of us are still raising kids. So we're busy with activities. We're trying to, put good, nutritious meals on the table. There's laundry, there's housework. We have careers, right? A lot of us are in the peak of our careers, and that's busy. There's a bit of a grind there. We have aging parents, right? There's a lot of factors. We're looking ahead to, retirement. Do we have enough money saved? And there's a lot going on. Because we're so busy, a lot of us, and let me know if this is you, really don't prioritize self-care. So we're not going for, a weekly or a monthly massage. It's easier to come home and maybe cook an instant meal. We're just on edge. So we have that glass of wine, right? And all of these small things that feel good in the moment actually contribute to this cycle where we start to lack joy. We're a little bit frayed in our mental health. Our just physical health maybe is suffering a little bit. And what does that mean? What's actually happening in the body when all of that is kind of compiling? We're stressed. And when we're in high periods of stress, the hormone that's associated with that is cortisol, okay? Cortisol is not always our friend. So let's talk about that, about how it affects our body's ability to adapt to exercise. Okay. So when cortisol is in high levels in the body, it puts us into an inflammatory state. The body's agitated. Our systems aren't functioning at their best. They're maybe not communicating. Our body isn't communicating with itself as well as it should be. And then, if you think about historically, what a lot of people do when they think of fitness, they're like, I'm all in. I'm going to go to that gym every day. I'm going to be there for an hour. Doesn't matter if I'm tired. I got to push through. I've just got to get the workout in. Oh, I'm not eating good. I'm going to restrict my calories. I'm not going to eat carbs. There's all these things that people do that actually then create more cortisol. Okay. So what we want to think about instead, or ask ourselves, is your workout contributing more stress to your life? So it's really, really important at this phase of life that we learn to listen to our body. And it's hard. I know better. And I'm like, okay, I got to get to the gym. I got to work out, got to lift weights 3 times a week. And then sometimes life happens and I'm like exhausted. Now, again, sometimes we do want to push, right? We don't want to just take the easy button and always be like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to work out. But on the corresponding side, we also need to go, is that what my body needs? Do I need movement? Is that going to help me feel better? Or do I need to go draw a hot bath? Do I need to book a massage? What do I need to do? Because exercise, of course, it's good for you. But if we're doing too much of it, if we're pushing too hard, if we're training like we did when we were 20, I can't go and do an hour and a half workout like I did at 20. Like I just can't. It's too much for my body. So if we're doing too much, we're going to just increase the effects of cortisol. And I hear that so often. I hear, oh, I'm going to run a half marathon. I mean, I'm running 6 days a week. I'm trying to lift weights. But man, like my times aren't improving. I was slower in this race than the last one. And that's because the body has too much cortisol. Okay. So we really need to learn to work with that. So what can we do? Okay. I want you to write this down. I didn't actually tell you this. Go get a piece of paper and a pen because I want to put you into action tonight. Okay. So what can you do? I want you to write down the word joy. Okay. There is not enough joy in life. This stage of life is busy. And we forget that we're supposed to enjoy it. We're just doing, we're just checking off the marks every day, the checklist of all the to-do things. What brings you joy? So take a second. We're going to pause. Write down the word joy. And beside that, I want you to write 3 things down. It can be anything. Is it just getting up a little earlier? For me, it's that hot cup of coffee in the morning, just holding that in my hands, sitting in a quiet house, taking that sip and just feeling that warmth kind of go through my body. That actually brings me joy. Or sitting outside in the spring when the birds are just starting to sing and you just sit there and you can hear the little tweets around and it's just calming, right? Doing crazy things with my kids, having fun, laughing, right? What are those things? And I'm going to challenge you that one of the best things you can do for your fitness level has nothing to do with fitness. I need you to make sure at least once a week. I mean, I'd like to say daily, but at least once a week, you are doing one of those things that brings you joy, because then your body vibrates at a different frequency and you're going to have more success at the gym. Okay. Now, let's talk about the gym. So we're there, right? We can't train the same way we used to. So what needs to change? First off, we've always told you to perform a warm-up, but it's even more important now, okay? You always want to do that warm-up. So my husband does not listen. He walks into the gym and he just goes right to the weight rack. But what you want to do is, we go to Spray Lakes here. I'll often go to the track. I'll walk 1 lap. I'll jog a lap. I'll maybe run a lap. I say that because my running's been a little off lately. And I'll walk. So my heart rate is up. The blood is flowing. I've cleared my head. And then I'll go and I'll do some, just some dynamic movements. Maybe some, like if I'm going to do upper body, I'll just seriously circle my arm, do a little bit of dynamic stretching before I work out. Okay. But the key things I want you to do is you're warming up. I want you to include deep breathing, because we are always living in this very stressful state. I found last night there was a moment, I'm like, my head just felt like it was like going, because I had so much going on. And I was like, okay, I need to quiet that down. So before your workout, it might seem the opposite because you want to get pumped up to work out. Take a minute, whether you're sitting down, you're lying on a mat, take a minute, take 3 to 10 breaths even, and just really focus on breathing, really breathing from your diaphragm. Okay, so a little geek anatomy on you for a second, but your diaphragm muscle is the secret sauce. The ability to breathe well, like I'm going to be crazy until it cures disease, right? Our diaphragm controls our entire body through our breath. Okay, so I want you to take some deep breaths, which means that you're going to breathe deep down into the belly and allow the ribs to move out to the sides. and then a deep exhale. And then the belly will draw in naturally and the ribs will kind of draw down and in. So it's a very natural breath. That's how we're supposed to breathe. Okay. So we've done our deep breathing. I want you to think about muscle activation. So what does that mean? Okay. So I tend to sit a lot in my desk job, right? So I do my fitness, but the other part of my job is sitting a lot. And so there was a day where I was in an online conference and I sat at my desk for 7 hours. And it was awesome, but I sat down. I didn't do anything. And I stood up and I went for a walk and my glutes were not on. So it's actually a thing called dormant butt syndrome. Okay. So my glutes weren't on. So as I was walking, I felt just my hamstrings. I felt my low back tighten up a little bit. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So the next day I was going to go to the gym. Well, my glutes had deactivated because of a day of sitting. So if I would have went in and went straight to that squat rack or right to the leg press or whatever a piece of equipment it might have been, even if I was doing, the glute, I can't think of the name of it right now. Oh my gosh, the glute machine. If I would have went straight there with deactivated glutes, they won't turn on. So when your glutes are deactivated, the hamstrings and the low back will take over. So instead, what we need to do, and this is a really common one, that's why I'm addressing it. But when I go into the gym, every time, I'm sure people wonder, like, who is this weird girl that comes in? Because I'll go to the squat rack and the first thing I'll do is mobility exercises. So I'll swing my leg back and forth. I'll just stand there and I'll swing one leg back and forth, right? Into flexion and extension of my hip. And then what I'll do is I'll lift my leg off the ground and using my knee, I'll just kind of stir and make circles. So I'm rotating the hip and the socket one way and then the other. So I'll do that with both legs. And then I need to activate. So I've done the mobility sequence, glute activation. Okay. So for me, I take a booty band, I put it around my upper thighs, I lay on the floor and I do glute bridges, right? Arms down the floor, lift the bum up. And I also always, before every single workout, I do a core activation sequence, which for me starts with breathing. For everyone, forget me. This is what a core activation series should look like. That breathing part again, that deep diaphragmatic breathing, that's going to help activate your core. And then I like to do an exercise called the dead bug, where I lay flat on my back, my knees are bent, my feet are off the ground, my arms are above me, and I just reach opposite arm and opposite leg away from each other with the goal of not letting the space in my low back get bigger. So I'm using my core musculature to hold my ribs in place and to protect my back, okay? I was way more long-winded on that than I wanted to be, but this is really important. Or if you're going to the gym and you have a heavy day, you're going to do some chest press, you're going to do overhead press, you've got some shoulder work you're going to do. I want you to start that out before you get there. Pick a very light weight, like 1 to 3 pounds, and I want you to do some work for your rotator cuff. So lying on your side, doing some external rotation, right? Super, super beneficial. I promise you, by taking 3 to 5 minutes at the beginning of your workout to properly warm up, so to breathe, right? To do some mobility exercises and to activate, you will have a better workout and you will have less soreness and you will see progress faster, okay? I touched on this already, but I really, really need you to listen to your body. So not every workout needs to be intense. Sometimes it feels good, right? Like a really good sweat that brings out the endorphins, the happy endorphins. It feels great. But if you are literally like you go in and your shoulder is kind of in pain, your upper traps are up and you're just like, oh, I got a headache and stuff, be gentle. What's wrong with being gentle with it? Maybe somewhere in that workout, you'll just feel better and you can push, but it's okay to move well, okay? Moving well is way more important than moving a lot, okay? The all-in mentality, right? That leads to failure. And how many of us do this? We set this goal, you know, whether it's January or going into summer, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to the beach. I got to get my beach body ready. Let me also say, if your fitness goals are based around getting into a bathing suit, you'll fail because you don't really care. So I want you to instead make goals based on how you want to feel, what you want to do. You know, for me, it's like I want to be able to keep up with my kids if they're out for a run. Actually, they are faster than me now, right? I want to be able to carry all my groceries to and from the vehicle without using a cart. These are the sorts of things that I actually find very motivating. Okay. But that all in mentality, when we go into that and we're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to go every single morning at 7. And then day 4, maybe something happens. Like you have good intentions. And then, one of the kids is sick and throwing up in the bathroom. And you're like, oh, I can't go. And so then so often that will put people out of activity, puts them back into inactivity. Well, I failed. And they'll just stop, right? Don't let that be you. Don't think all in, think forever. So fitness is not about always reaching a goal. Yes, we want short-term goals, but it's a lifestyle. It's how can you age well? How can you age with less pain, right? This is why I do this, you guys. This is what I love. Okay, so we've warmed up. We've listened to our body during our workout. The other real key piece is you need to de-stress after your session, especially if it's been a really hard, intense workout. I mean, yes, we know we should stretch after, but again, that's not enough. I actually changed my playlist. So I have like 90s hard rock in my ears when I'm lifting weights. But at the end, I actually just put on some like yoga relaxation music from Spotify. And what do I do again? I go through a full body stretch, and then I'll actually spend 1 minute to 3 minutes. I'll just either lay on the floor or sit like in a meditation pose at the gym. I don't care. And I'll take some deep breaths. Or if I don't have time, it's like, oh crap, I was over there too long. I've got to get home. Then on the drive home, I'll make sure there's soft music. And I'm taking some time to, again, control my breath. Because I said that at the beginning, you guys, but there's a reason Pilates, yoga, all of these modalities have breathing as the number one principle, okay? It is how we can de-stress. It is the secret sauce to reducing cortisol in your body, okay? So breathe, write that down. Breathe, right? You're doing it anyway, so you might as well take some time and do it well. And remember that rest and recovery are just as important. Actually, I think I would say they're more important over 40 than your actual workout, right? So the workout is a piece of it, but what we do before the workout, what we do after the workout to set ourselves up is so, so important. So let's talk about a few training tips. I already talked about do what you enjoy, but I actually want you to think right now, I'm going to go back in time as far back as you can remember. Like when you were 7 and you were tobogganing down a hill, you were flying a kite, you were climbing up a tree, playing in a fort somewhere. Maybe there was those horrible, I call them fitness tests in school. I never did well at those. Maybe you were on the badminton team. Maybe in college you were just out dancing at the bars, right? Maybe you tried skiing. Look back at every activity you've ever done. What did you love that you're not finding the time to do now? And I want you to write that down. And I want you to make a commitment to doing that again in the very near future. And then if you're thinking about, well, what do I want to do? I want to have a fitness program. I don't. What do you love to do? If you love to walk, then go walk. We'll talk about some strength training here in a second, but what do you love to do? Make that your priority. That becomes your base. And then of course we sometimes do have to do things we don't like. We have to do hard things to make progress, but joy is number one. Okay, now super important, over 40, we have to strength train, okay? This doesn't mean you have to be like Arnold. 3 exercises. If you were to do these 3 exercises 2 to 3 times a week, let's say 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps, 2 to 3 times a week, you're going to have a base of fitness. Squats, push-ups, and the dead bug core exercise I mentioned earlier, okay? They're full body integration exercises. That's a really good starting point. But then it is important that we add resistance, right? Because we lose muscle mass, we lose bone mass as we age. How do we continue to build bone? How do we continue to model bone, have strong bones, prevent osteoporosis? We resistance train. So that could mean that you have a flex band and you go to YouTube and you type in resistance band workout and you follow along, right? I, of course, loved the gym. I didn't go for years, to be honest. Like that was deep in my personal training days, like 20 years ago. I lifted weights all the time. And then having kids, it definitely became more Pilates. Had a chapter of life where I ran a lot of races. It became more resistance bands, things I could do at home. You guys know I love Betty Rocker. She's an online coach. If you want a free workout, just Google her up. She's got free and paid stuff, right? But it's really important that we do incorporate that strength training. For me, the heavier the better at this phase. I've got a really solid base. So I'm trying to actually bulk up. I am going to age as gracefully as I can. And the more lean mass I have on me, the more I'm going to be here for the long haul. I want to be my grandma Sadie, right? She was here till she was 103. That's the goal. So I want you to consider that you do need to do some type of strength training 2 to 3 times a week. Another thing that's super effective, and they've actually shown with research that women over 40, rather than going out and doing long duration exercise. So again, don't just run. I mean, and I know a lot of you, myself included, I've trained for half marathons. That's an immense amount of cardio. It's a high cortisol activity. Just do that, but make sure that you're doing other things to support that and do your strength training. But the research has shown that shorter bouts of activity can give you the same or better results. So like a 15 to 20 minute workout can give me the same or better results than a 1 hour workout. Okay, thank you, whoever did that research project, right? So what do we do there? Well, we do interval training sessions of 15 to 45 minutes. You can do this 1 to 3 times a week. Again, what works for you? Do what works for you. If working out 7 days a week doesn't work for you, don't try it. In fact, you shouldn't. I would say you probably shouldn't work out more than 5 days a week because you should rest and recover. Okay, Pilates. Okay, I'm in the studio. My computer right now is sitting on top of my reformer. Pilates and yoga are absolutely great choices. They focus on mind-body connection. They de-stress you, right? Pilates, the apparatus work, Matt's great, but I strongly recommend you do Pilates apparatus work, okay? Because you also get the strength training benefits. You learn alignment. You learn how to use your body as a whole system and how to create length and space for your organs, for your joints. It's a beautiful thing, okay? Try it out if you haven't. Okay, let's talk about the pelvic floor. Let's talk about the core. It's not a secret, right? We have kids over 40. Sometimes when people sneeze, right? Oops, there can be a little leakage of urine, weak pelvic floor muscles, weak core, right? That can lead to a lot of issues. So you need to prevent those. So I'm not talking just doing Kegels. Kegels have their place. What is the most valuable pelvic floor and core exercise you can do? Guess what? You're not going to be surprised. Breathing. Starting with focused diaphragmatic breathing, okay? Because as your diaphragm, as you take a breath, the diaphragm moves down. It actually puts pressure on the pelvic floor. And as you exhale, the diaphragm pulls up and it fascially is connected to your pelvic floor and lifts the pelvic floor up with it. So start with breathing, okay? Start again with things like the dead bug. Can you learn how to isolate your transversus abdominis? Can you do a Kegel, right? We're not bracing. We're not always gripping our abdominals. That has its place in some activities, but we just want these muscles always just very gently on, okay? They're stabilizer muscles. So they should just be gently whispering in the background all the time versus our big muscles yelling at us, right? So incorporate pelvic floor and core exercises. I, again, choose to do those before I hit my weights. So again, before I hit that squat rack, I'm doing my hip mobility, I'm doing my glute activation, I'm checking in with my breathing, my core, probably doing a couple Kegels there. And then again, as far as the pelvic floor goes, one of the most functional exercises isn't the Kegel, it's the squat. Like a really well executed squat is so beneficial. So, and think about all the women in Asian countries that actually work in a squatting position. It's so functional. We don't do that in Western civilization because of all the furniture we sit on. but have a goal of like getting into those deep functional squats, right? Do a squat, stand up and lift your arms over your head. It's a full body fascial movement. It's brilliant. So it doesn't have to be complicated. You do have a superpower. I don't have it. When I train you, I'm not the superpower, you are. And the superpower is awareness. So your actual ability to listen to your body, to your breath, to be curious. Don't be concerned about, is this right? Is this wrong? Instead, ask yourself, how does this feel? Or you're going to read a fitness magazine and you're going to see a cool exercise and you're going to try to do it. And you're like, I can't do it. I just can't. I don't look like the photo. That's okay. What part of that can you do? What can you learn about your body as you go through that process? That's where, again, it's valuable. One of my favorite things to do with people, I have some people that would come maybe every 6 weeks. They come in once every 6 weeks and we do like a checkup. And it's like, hey, I'm struggling with this exercise. What's going on? So I look at their form. We talk about how to build that exercise up with other exercises, right? So go in, find someone, find a trainer, find an athletic therapist, go to physio if you need to. Work with a community of people to support you, okay, that can help you on your wellness goal. And then whatever you're doing at the gym, I really want you to focus on good form, okay? I do have the music in, but it's also important we're not just like ignoring our body and just, I see people, they'll do a bicep curl and then their back is going like this. And I'm like, okay, great that you think you're like bicep curling 60 pounds, but you're actually overworking your low back doing that, right? So think of lighter weights, finding good form, feeling your muscles working. And if we just talk about strength training again, if you look at the little thing I have circled in the corner there, this is mind-blowing, okay? If you are having hot flashes, you need to build some muscle because it says, did you know that women who have more muscle than fat will reduce hot flashes by up to 70%. That's crazy. And I felt that. So not so many hot flashes through the day. I'd have a few, but definitely waking up hot at night. And in January of this year, where I really started to focus on my nutrition, on my fitness again, I have reduced my hot flashes and reduced the amount of like hotness at night, I guess, drastically. So if you are not strength training, I strongly encourage you to do that. A couple other training tips while you're at the gym. Okay, I've talked about this, about being aware, listening to your body, but good form is super important. Okay, breathe through all your movements, feel the movements, be curious. Okay, ask yourself questions. Is my toe pointing left? What happens if I point my toe right? You can actually be your own personal trainer just by asking those questions, okay? Awareness is key. Pilates principles, right? Control, concentration, precision, breathing, centering, fluidity. We want to move well, okay? You need to rest. You need to rest. Schedule those rest days in just like anything else. You need to be consistent, okay? So there are times, I'm not quite where I wanted to be. When I started working out in January, I was like, I had a goal for where I thought I'd be here by May, but I'm not quite there yet. And that's because life happened. And there was, I was 10 days in Saskatchewan away. I was 4 days over in Kamloops, and there was meetings and there was things like that. And it was harder for me to do my workouts. So what I did do in those periods of time when I was away, I'm like, okay, I can't get to the gym, but I don't want to lose anything. I want to maintain it. Well, I took my exercise band with me. I would do 3 exercises in the hotel room. You want to just keep moving the needle forward. And then as far as actually making strength gains, you need progressive overload. So if for the last 3 years, you went to the gym and you've always picked up the 10-pound weights and you've been bicep curling them, and you're like, yeah, I feel it at the end, you're not going to gain anything. You need to continue to challenge yourself. And it needs to be in slow, gradual steps. But I mean, if you've been bicep curling with 10 pounds, go try 15, go try 12, right? You need to increase that all the time. So that's the theory of progressive overload, okay? Now, what we do at the gym is important, but over 40 key points. What we do when we're not at the gym, what we do in the kitchen, and how we rest after the gym are so crucial. You need to fuel your body like it's a Ferrari, right? If you had a Ferrari, you're probably not going to put, basic gas in there. You're going to go premium, right? So your body is a Ferrari. I want you to put nutrition into it. You have to rethink food as fuel. Key, write this down. Protein, protein, protein. I am shocked how little protein I was eating prior to January. I was eating protein throughout the day for sure, but I wasn't always eating it at every meal. And I really lost muscle mass over the past 3 years. So what you need to do as a woman in perimenopause, this is going to sound crazy, but it's up to 30 to 40 grams per meal. Okay. This is really important because as we age and our hormones change, I said this at the beginning, we get a decreased ability to absorb the protein, the amino acids. And if we have enough protein, we can actually start to reduce brain fog. So I need you to have protein at breakfast. So my favorite breakfast is either egg whites with a little bit of avocado and salsa, hard-boiled eggs, or I use 0% fat Greek yogurt with a little bit of berries, some cinnamon on there, some tree biotic, high protein breakfast, right? I eat every 3 to 4 hours. So I do, because protein's hard to get in, because nuts don't count as a protein source. They're super high in fat. You do get protein from them, but I'm using a lot of protein powder for just that mid-afternoon. If I'm like, I need to have some protein, it's really easy to just throw them with some water and get it in because I'm trying to actively build muscle. And my brain fog is less. You guys, it's crazy. So I want you to really pay attention to that. If you need any ideas or any recipes, just put a comment below, send me a message. I have tons of resources I can share with you. Okay. I want you to nourish your body with whole foods. Okay. Food is fuel. And what happens? I felt this yesterday, and there's nothing wrong with the bagel. There's nothing wrong with the bagel, but I am trying to eat more protein than carbs. So yesterday morning, then I woke up and I was like, we're kind of in a rush. So I just grabbed the bagel. I left the Skippy peanut butter in the pantry and I went for the whole peanut butter, put some bananas on there. It was a quick breakfast, but there really wasn't any protein in that. And so what I've discovered, and even last night was like, okay, supper, it's just so easy to hit that easy button and be like, should we just order pizza? Should we just grab a Safeway chicken? Maybe we just have noodles. But those things, when we hit the easy button, lead us to not have enough protein. And so, it's work. This is not easy, right? You have to put the work in. So I need you to start thinking about meal prepping, planning out your meals ahead of time, making sure you have the ingredients and cooking a lot of it ahead of time. That's been a game changer for me. Okay. Food is fuel. So when you're you're having that food craving, it's happened yesterday. She was like, I just really want those chocolate chips. I'm like, no. I left them there. And instead, I went and had 2 chocolate collagen chews, right? I'm like, oh, that's a better option, right? So it's always, you can't pick what you want in the moment. Again, you have to have that long-term vision. Who do you want to be? And that takes an immense amount of discipline. Motivation, you guys have heard me say this, doesn't always exist. It's all about discipline, okay? Stay hydrated. We did not drink enough water. We are busy. Dehydration actually slows down your metabolism and it actually shuts down optimal health. You need enough water for your fascial system to talk, for your body, for your toe to talk to your shoulder, right? It's super fascinating, this fascial system we have. We need water, we need movement, okay? So the only thing that works for me, and if I don't drink enough water, is in the morning I have those Contigo bottles from Mountain Equipment Co-op. They're 1 liter. So I fill 2 of them up in the morning and they're there. And I have to make sure I drink those by the end of the day, right? If I don't do that, I don't drink water. So whatever works for you, but I need you to really stay hydrated. You're going to recover quicker from your workouts. You want to be hydrated going in. You want to drink during your workout. You want to hydrate after, right? And then let's be honest, even the most intentioned of us, we have nutritional gaps. So you're going to want to fill those nutritional gaps. How do you know what they are? For a week, just journal out what you eat. If you still are like, I don't know even know what this means, then message me, right? I can help you work through that to figure out where you need to eat more. But really, we're just looking to balance our macronutrients. We have to eat protein, we have to eat good fat, we have to eat good carbs. Okay, that's all. It's so simple, but there's so much information out there that it feels complicated. Okay, again, over 40, it can be harder to, you're just walking up the stairs to the gym, you're like, oh, I just feel a little tired. And then sometimes after the gym, what I used to be able to recover in like 3 hours, sometimes I'm like 12 hours later, I'm like, oh, I can still feel that. That's natural. So that's where I use both pre and post workout supplements to really optimize my results. Because if I go and work out and then I'm too sore for the next 3 days to go back and work out again, I'm not going to see progress, right? So you want to use supplements that can keep you moving forward. We have to talk about gut health, okay? It's important. Gut health, so first of all, I said your diaphragm and breathing, okay? Super important. The other probably most important part of your whole body is your gut health. That affects your mind, right? That brain-gut connection. Do you have inflammation in your body? How does your body talk to itself, right? Gut health is super important. So we're looking for good quality foods, right? Well, I won't even go down that. We could do a whole webinar just on gut health. Maybe we will one day. Super important because you can't out-train a bad diet. I see this often. People are like, oh, I'm working out every day. I'm not seeing gains. I'm like, okay, tell me what you ate this week. And they're like, well, I was really busy on Monday, so I went to McDonald's. And then, well, I forgot to eat breakfast on Tuesday, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, well, your body has no fuel. So you're actually, if you don't provide the proper fuel, your body's going to start to break down muscle in order to fuel itself. Okay. So really important is nutrition. And then we talked about supplements. These would be my top supplement recommendations. Again, everybody's a little bit different, but I believe everyone over the age of probably 25 needs a collagen, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate supplement. There are a ton of collagens out there, right? It's become very trendy. Okay. Well, I was doing collagen before it was trendy. You need a collagen that's from a single source. You need a collagen that it has to be with hyaluronic acid. Then you put chondroitin sulfate all in one matrix. Your body recognizes it as its own. You're actually going to see results. If you're spending $20 a month on collagen at Costco, you're probably not really going to get the results, right? So you want to put that good investment in. Super, super strong believer in that. Why? Because your connective tissue system, your body isn't actually held up by bones and muscles. It's held up by your connective tissue system, your fascia system. And it's a system, just like your circulatory system, right? Your cardiovascular system, your fascial system is a thing, and it's all collagen. So if you can supplement with that, it's like the fountain of youth, you guys. Like it blows my mind. There's a reason I'm in the collagen business, right? CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. I love this supplement because it actually helps to preserve muscle tissue while simultaneously blasting fat. Okay, so it shrinks fat cells. It helps you preserve muscle tissue. I use a CLA that also has collagen, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate. So I'm getting all the benefits in one supplement, right? Brain health, okay? Perimenopause, we get that brain fog, we get irritable, we get angry, right? Brain health is huge. So omegas for sure. Adaptogens are super important. I use a supplement called Go. It's just good brain fuel, okay? Fiber and phytonutrients. We as a society do not eat enough vegetables, okay? Vegetables are a carbohydrate. They are the very best, most nutritious, nutrient-dense carb you can have. So carbs are good when they're in the form of vegetables, okay? But do you actually eat them? Probably not enough. And so then you're not going to get enough fiber and you're not going to get enough nutritional value. So I use both of fiber and I use Phyto Reds, Phyto Golds, Phyto Greens. Every day I mix those up in one of my protein shakes somewhere during the day so that I make sure I'm functioning at the base level. My systems have what they need to function optimally. Okay. Of course, with gut health, a probiotic. I choose to use a pre, post, and probiotic all in one product, but you really want to look at that. And then I put protein powder down here simply because for me, I'm not a huge shake person, but I find sometimes if I am on the go and I don't have time to like eat eggs, grab chicken breasts, whatever it is, or there's nothing cooked in the fridge and I'm on the go, I'm like, okay, quick protein shake. And I've got my nutrition for that moment, right? So those are my top recommendations. And I need you to rest. This is so, so, so important. So when you are doing a schedule and you're putting in your workout days, I need you also to schedule your rest days, and I need you to schedule self-care. Most of us have health spending accounts, okay? So are you going for a massage once a month? Are you seeing a chiropractor? Are you seeing an osteopath? Are you getting craniovertebral, not craniovertebral flexion, I'm thinking of something else. Are you getting craniosacral therapy? Have you went and done a breath class? Have you tried a sound bath? What can you do to put your body in a healing state? Because our autonomic nervous system, and unfortunately, I have way too much experience with this after Alexis's, run with long COVID, where her autonomic nervous system was so disrupted. Your autonomic nervous system, it functions underneath the surface and it regulates everything. It regulates your temperature, your heartbeat. It just keeps you level. But because at 40, we are like, go, 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 high stress, high cortisol, it starts doing this. We get hot, we get cold because we get a little disruption to the autonomic nervous system. So doing things that are healing, like a sound bath, right? Walking in nature, just laying in the grass on like the naked ground, laying in the grass. It sounds silly, you guys, but touching a tree, okay, hug a tree, it's really a thing. It's this grounding. It connects you with the vibrational energy of the earth. It's a thing, okay? Put yourself into a healing state, okay? We talked again about filling nutritional gaps with supplements, super important, the pre-post workout supplements. But, here I am in my soapbox. I'll let it go. But please go for a massage. Go for a massage. Okay, you don't have benefits? Do you have a spouse? Do you have a child? Pay your kid $5 to rub your neck for 10 minutes. Like whatever it is, get a foam roller. Put a stretch class on YouTube and just breathe. Breathe, 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 breathe. Okay. I think that's maybe my biggest lesson or biggest takeaway I'm trying to give you guys today. And then finally, I want you to celebrate your body because again, we talk about the image of fitness that society puts on us. It's like 6-pack abs, bikinis, all muscled up. No, that doesn't mean it's fit. In fact, I would actually be so crazy as to say there's a lot of people that look fit that aren't healthy, right? They have so much muscle imbalance. They've overtrained. There's lots of stuff that's going wrong. I met a lady. She's actually a Pilates teacher. She's a physiotherapist. And if you just saw her on the street, she's a little bit heavier than some of us are, right? But I've never seen someone move their body as beautifully as she did in Pilates. She was so healthy because she moved well. She did fuel well. Her body looked just didn't look like the stereotype that we think it needs to be for fitness. So whatever your body looks like, whatever shape, size it is, fitness is not about looking a certain way. It is about feeling your best. What do you want to do that you're not doing because you don't have the fitness level? Do you have a dream of getting up and doing a sunset hike? Okay, then we're going to have to build some cardiovascular endurance. We're going to have to build some leg strength, right? I want you to take a look back because at 40, we are so busy. We forgot about the joy of like being on that mountaintop. And that's, for me, that's what it was, living in Jasper when I was like, oh my gosh, what was I, 19, 20? And hiking up in those mountains and just truly feeling like me. That is my challenge for you guys. I want you to find that thing that you love to do. And then I want you to start a fitness program because you want to do awesome things, because you want to feel good, you want to be healthy, and I want you to love your body. Okay, I was trying to keep this under 45 minutes. I'm a little bit longer, But I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. I would love to know what your biggest takeaway was. I'm hoping I brought you some value. If it was valuable, please share this with a friend because this is my passion. I really believe that with a little bit of coaching, a little bit of guidance, we can all truly be our best self. And when we're our best self, we shine our light, and then everyone else has permission to shine their light. And we need it, you guys. So if you have more questions, if you're like, okay, this is good, but I'm still a little bit confused, I'm going to invite you to work with me. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do this. Maybe you're just looking for some tips with nutrition. Maybe you're looking for a fitness plan. You just want to take your goals to the next level. What is it you need? Hey, let's just chat. We can do a consult. Okay. But what I have discovered over 20 years now of teaching is we can have all the tools in the world. In fact, at this age, most of us know what we should do. We know what we should do. We might even have a home gym. We might have a fridge full of good food. And sometimes we still don't make the right choices. Why is that? It's because we have this brain up here between our ears that is so full of limiting beliefs and stories that we tell ourselves that don't serve us well. And so we often know what we should do, but we don't do it. And so that's where coaching can become super effective. It's someone to ask you the questions, to guide you, to give you the tools, the education, the knowledge you don't have, but ultimately to empower you to make a change in your life. And I am super excited about this program I've been doing now for a couple months. It's called the Vibrant Women Project. Okay. It is a program that we do over 3 months. It's still in its infancy. We're learning as we go with it. But what happens is every single week I deliver you a module of information. So sometimes we have a week on stress. We have a week on hormones. We have a week on fitness. We have a week on nutrition. We have a week on of lifestyle. We have 12 different modules. And within each module, we give you information, but then we tailor a plan specifically for you. How can you be your best version? So if that interests you, drop the word vibrant down below, shoot me a message, or if there's someone you know that could benefit from that coaching, I would love to chat with them. And I just want to say thank you so, so much for being here, because this is absolutely my passion. I respect that you came out and spent almost an hour of your time with me. And I just am super grateful to be able to do this for a living. I get to share my passion of fitness and movement and living well with you. So thank you so, so much for being here. Please reach out if you have any questions. If you want to, you're here, you're in my community, but I do send out a weekly newsletter as well. Or if you just want to connect, send me a message and I would love to help you reach your goals.